What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Dak Magazine back with another video. Today I'm going to be reviewing this 2015 Audi A6 with the 3.0 Supercharged V6. It's been a while since I've uploaded a video, and I just got this car, so wanted to make the video while the car is still pretty new to me. And so far I've been loving it. You know, I've had two Audis in the past, two A4s, had a 2006 Audi A4 with the 4-cylinder turbo, and then I had a 2007 two-door cabriolet with the 3.2 liter V6. And I'm just an Audi fanboy. The engines run smooth, transmission smooth, suspension, my favorite, is super smooth. So overall, just a reliable car. And Audis have a bad stigma of being unreliable, but once you really get to know which Audis to get, they are pretty fun cars to own. So like I said before, this is the 3.0 V6 Supercharged. As you see with the badge right there, these are 18-inch wheels on both front and back. Let me go ahead and pop the hood for you guys. While we're here, got the all-black interior, the 3-spoke steering wheel. Yeah, it's pretty clean, as you could tell. Very executive, not as small as the A4, but also not as big as something like an A8. So it's a great in-between, you know, for people looking for that mid-size sedan. Like I said, let's open up that hood, see what we're working with. I really love this front grille and lip. It's very sporty and executive looking. So there she is, Supercharged V6 from Audi. Very clean engine bay. And for people that, you know, are considering a supercharged car, this is my first supercharged motor. Every other car that I've had besides the first Audi A4 has been naturally aspirated. So when it comes to turbocharged versus supercharged, people often say that superchargers are just more reliable because it's not as much force induction going into the engine, and just a lot of turbo related problems that come up with, you know, the 4-cylinders or any turbocharged engine at that. So if you're looking for something that has a little bit more power that's not naturally aspirated, but you also don't want the unreliability of turbos, then supercharged is the way to go. Supercharged engines just have less reliability problems, as everything is kind of connected on the serpentine belt. So the power goes directly to the motor, versus when you're dealing with turbo lag and things like that, it's just a little bit more of a delay and just more parts that can go wrong with turbocharged engines. Overall, very clean engine bay, and I'm just very familiar with Audis, like I said before. So when it comes to just the expansion tank for the coolant and just the setup of, you know, the motor, I'm very familiar with. So, you know, I'm not too scared in terms of, you know, being able to diagnose, you know, what's going on when something goes wrong. And nothing too much besides here. Like I said, the supercharger sits on top, and you know, you got your intake, pretty big one, and you got your expansion tank, obviously the motor itself. And yeah, I just like the way Audi, you know, it's not too complicated. Like, you can kind of tell where everything is, where there's some engine layouts that are just, they look like a rat's nest. So everything's pretty clean and tidy over here. I'm gonna go ahead and close this up, and then guess I'll give you guys a round back. Hopefully you can see. We got this like dark blue going on. Certain angles it looks black, but you know, when the sun's really shiny, you can see the blue, which is nice. A6 emblem, 3.0T Quattro. Audi's just lazy, even though it's supercharged. The T stands for turbo typically, but I guess T just sounds cooler than putting an S. They don't want to confuse, so they just keep it at that. The body styling and just the overall presence of this car is undeniable. Like, it's big, you know, but like I said, it's not so big to the point of where you feel like you're in a boat, but it definitely is technically in that boat category as it's a mid-size sedan. Something I forgot to mention while I was under the hood is that this is pretty much an S4 engine from the V8 0.5. If not the V8, I don't know, but yeah, it's pretty much an S4 motor. And the S line for the S6 has the 4.2 V8. So, like I said, it's a pretty good in between. It's not something as small like the 4-cylinder that comes in the A4s these days, but then it's not something so heavy like that 4.2 liter V8. We'll go into the back seat. I have my seat pretty back right now. Pretty clean interior. Got your armrest. You got the window shades for the rear seat and climate control for the rear, which is pretty nice. You do get heated seats back here. In the front, you get heated and cooled seats, but in the back only heated, but still, that's not bad. You know, a lot of cars do not have that. Down here, got your cigarette lighters, 2 of them. Pretty sick. And just in general, pretty comfortable. I have my seat pretty lean back because that's how I drive. I'm like 5'7", so even with the seat in this position, I still have leg room, which is pretty good to know. When you're looking in the market for a mid-size sedan, you want to make sure that your back seats are doing what they're supposed to do. These shades right here, pretty nice. I don't have tints, just got the car, but you know, these will do for the moment. Come back out to the front. The wood trim on this is pretty sick. Has a gloss finish, and it reminds me of the CLS, the older generation CLS from like 06 to 09. So that was my first thought when I hopped in this. You got the A6 right there. You can see I got 149 on the dash. There's people that might be scared at that kind of mileage, but I got this from the dealership. And honestly, when it comes to these Germans, this car has no check engine light when I bought it, and it still doesn't. So if it made it to this mileage and right now it's having no check engine light, that usually means a lot of the major maintenance has been done. And I do have warranty for, you know, a year anyway. So if anything were to go wrong, engine transmission wise, I'd be covered. But yeah, a lot of people don't realize when it comes to these Germans, people are scared of the higher mileage, but it's usually when it passes 100K miles that things start to go wrong. So when you're now getting to that 130 plus mark, definitely things are going to start to go wrong. So if you're getting a car in that mileage and it's looking pretty clean and, you know, service records are up to date, no check engine light, things like that, a lot of the maintenance has been done. And a car that is usually looking clean cosmetically, it's taken care of mechanically. So, you know, just something to think about. So I'm gonna go ahead and start the car up for you guys. This is the start button right here. Foot on the brake. That comes out, voila. And in terms of dream cars, this is not my dream car exactly, but like I said, I don't know if I said it before, but this is my dream motor. So this has the S4 motor, and my dream car always has been an S4, the V8. So this is pretty close, and I'll take it. It's pretty hard to find S4s these days that are not overpriced. So if you're looking for an S4 but you can't seem to find it, A6 3.0 Supercharged is the way to go, and you can get them at a great price. I got this one for around $8,000 and change. This is also my first finance, so I usually get my cars cash. I've had 5 cars. I said 2 Audis, and then I've had 2 Acura TLs. Then I have 1 BMW 3 Series, the E90. So this will be my 6th car and my first finance. So kind of did it to, you know, force myself to just be responsible and not really beat on the car like that and take care of it, and you know, build my credit, things like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn on the AC so that I'm not over here baking. This is your climate control, has dual climate control here. That's where you have your angle, so you click it and then you use the knob to adjust it. So pretty straightforward. This car is honestly like a spaceship, literally. Like, in terms of just feeling like a video game, and modern. This is the newest car I've ever owned. 2015. All my cars before have been like from the early 2000s, so it just definitely feels kind of unreal being in this with all these buttons and just the screen, and it's just like mad cool. Right here, you press that button, the screen disappears. Press it again, and it comes back out. You have your driver select modes. So right now, use this button. I'm in auto, comfort, dynamic, individual. Individual is where you can kind of like fine tune the settings. So you would click this button right here, and you can independently select how you want engine, transmission, steering, all of that to kind of be. I'm not going to do all that right now, but you know, the fact that it's there is pretty sick. And another cool thing is that you can access the owner's manual in the car. So instead of actually going to the physical manual that's usually in the glove box, you can access it through here, which is pretty sick.
While in navigation, press the talk button.
Like, I'm not gonna play the whole video, but like the fact that it has the whole menu for you to like watch the video is pretty insane. So I'm gonna turn the AC off and give you guys some revs so you can hear that supercharger. So yeah, pretty potent. From my experience, Audi's never really revved too high, which, you know, I think it's just how they make them. And the supercharger, you can definitely hear that whine if you were to open the hood and rev. Overall, this is a great car for the value. You're getting supercharged V6 with ample space interior-wise. A lot of, you know, amenities. You know, it might not have Apple CarPlay and things like that, but you still got a lot of tech that is useful. You know, lane departure assist, things like that, cruise control, you know, pretty standard these days, but just a lot of cool features. And, you know, it definitely stands the test of time. You know, for it being a 2015, now 2026, it still feels like a modern, you know, newer car. So I'll show you the key in the meantime, too. It's the same key they use for the Lambos, so yeah, that's another thing I love about Audi. It's the same family as Lamborghini, Porsche, you know, the real cars. So share a lot of the same parts when it comes to small stuff like keys and whatnot. But yeah, open the trunk for you. There it is. Good amount of space. People that are big on trunks, you know, like as long as I got space, I'm not really a big trunk guy. But I'm sure when you got stuff to carry, you know, it matters. And like I said, it's got the room, so that's good. Come over to the passenger side here. Ugh. I showed you guys the rear. This is front passenger POV. Like I said before, just very modern, sleek. Personally, I like black interior when it comes to Audi. When it comes to their beige or other colors, I had a gray interior on the second A4 I had, the drop top two-door, and it wasn't too bad, but their beige, it has to be done right. So the cream interior, we're not really a fan of when it comes to Audi. So I really just like the executive corporate look of the all black. But yeah, it's not really much else, I guess, for me to go over. So you guys let me know what you think about these A6s. Would you buy one? If so, leave your comments down below. Drop a like, subscribe. Hopefully you're able to get some useful information out of this video and making a decision if you're considering these. I definitely would. And yeah, just appreciate you tuning in. So I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.